Let's quickly have an holistic view of what's going on in this market. So we are on the daily time frame right now, and on the daily time frame, the first thing we observed is that price action has been on a bullish momentum. Remember, we took advantage of a buy opportunity here last week. We made over 500 pips with multiple entries on the USDJPY last week. So let's see if we still going to be looking forward to buying the USDJPY for this week. Now, on the daily time frame, we have this bullish trend line figured out after connecting the series of higher lows. Beside this trend line is this very important key level at the 135 Japanese yen level. And if you go to as far back as the month of June, you can see that this level has been a major determinant of price action. Now, look at what happened here in the month of August. We saw this reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. So we saw the double bottom structure here, and whenever we have a double bottom structure like this, we want to be identified the neckline, and that neckline will be serving as our yardstick for trading activities. And then what happened in the month of August was quite interesting, as we saw the breakout of the neckline, giving us an opportunity to buy the USDJPY, and in fact we bought it, and it took price action 3 to 4 months before price action came back to do a retest of the neckline. So as soon as we saw the sharp rejection of this neckline a couple of weeks ago, I think last week we saw a couple of weeks ago we saw the retest of that structure, and last week we were looking forward to price respecting that neckline area to incite a bullish momentum, which we took advantage of here yesterday, which gave us about 250 pips on one position, and we had, I think, 3 positions running on the USDJPY last week. So now going into the new week, what is going to be our expectation on the USDJPY? Well, there are 2 scenarios which I'll be looking forward to following this impulsive move that started last week. We might be seeing price do a retracement into somewhere around the key level area or somewhere close to that structure before another wave of bullish momentum happens. And if a bullish momentum happens here, we want to be having our take profit target lining up with our bullish trend line. Remember, we saw this breakdown of the structure here during the second week of the month of November. So there is a likelihood that price might come back to do a retest of that structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So that is one scenario that might likely happen, or we could be having a breakout of that level to further give us an opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So that is one scenario we won't be looking forward to this week. Then the other situation that we might be seeing this week is if price breaks down the 135 Japanese yen level, retest of structure to send price crashing to the downside. So what we are going to be doing now is to scale down to the lower time frame. Let's see what is really going on around here since the later part of last week till the early hours of this week. Let's see what's going on here. Our participants in this market has been relating to the structure around the 136 and the 137 Japanese yen level. So in order to do this, we want to scale down to our 1 hour time frame. And on the 1 hour time frame, so hold on a second, let me scale up to the 4 hours time frame. I think we'll see things more clearly here before we move into the 1 hour time frame. So right here on the 4 hours time frame, the first thing you would observe here is that we have been witnessing, we have been witnessing selling pressure since the later part of the month of October. And this is evident after connecting the series of lower highs here to give us that resultant bearish trend line. In addition to the bearish trend line here is the 138 Japanese yen level, a structure which I was able to identify here. And you can see how this level was holding by pressure prior to the breakdown of the structure a couple of weeks ago. So since the breakdown of the structure, price has been trading below that 138 Japanese yen level. So this is the 135 Japanese yen area which I identified on the daily time frame, which I said is a very important key level, which is also serving as a neckline of the reversal pattern we identified in the month of August. So last week trading session, we saw this reversal pattern here in the form of a double bottom structure. So we saw this. And whenever we have a reversal pattern, you know, we always look out for our neckline, which is situated at the 135.500 level. And we saw the breakout of that structure last week, which we took advantage of. And as soon as price got into the 138 Japanese yen area, we started seeing a consolidation phase between the 138 Japanese yen level and the 136.450 level to further give us emphasize the indecision in this market. So at this point in time, we are at an equilibrium at this point in time. And what do I mean by we are at an equilibrium? Well, what I simply mean here is that the current structure we have here has a tendency of a bullish momentum, and at the same time, it had a tendency of selling opportunities. And let me take the selling opportunity first of all before I deliberate on the bullish expectation here on the USDJPY. So following this impulsive move to the downside that broke down the 138 Japanese yen level, whenever we have an impulse leg like this, we expect that price will retrace back into our golden zone area, an area between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg, where we shall be looking out for structures that will likely incite another wave of bearish momentum in the direction of the prior leading price action. So that is one scenario that we want to be looking out for. And if you look at the consolidation phase here, you can see that it transposed into a reversal pattern in the form of a head and shoulder pattern. So we have the left shoulder here. We have the head at a retest of the 138 Japanese yen level. Then we have the left shoulder here before the breakdown of the neckline happened at the 136.450 level. Then price appears to come back to do a retest of the structure here. And if price breaks down this bullish trend line, we want to be thinking of selling. So what I'll be using as my yardstick for this week is the 136.450 level. So if price breaks down the 136.450 level here, then we want to be thinking of selling the USDJPY. So this is what I'll be looking out for, selling the USDJPY, breaking down of that bullish trend line, which also lines up with the neckline of that head and shoulder pattern at the 136.450. Selling pressure below that level should give us an opportunity to sell the USDJPY. So if we are going to be selling the USDJPY this week, we have a take profit target figured out at around the 131.500 level. And how did we get to that decision? Well, if we look at this impulse leg here and project it into the future using our Fibonacci extension tool, we should be aiming at somewhere between the, hold on a second, we should be aiming at somewhere between the 127.2 and the 1414 area. And if we have exactly between 500 area as our take profit target, which will be dovetailing to a minimum of 460 pips and a maximum of about 540 pips to catch here if price moves in that direction. So if that happens, we want to be prepared to take advantage of that bearish momentum. Now, going back to the bullish expectation here. So as at the beginning of the month of December, we saw that the month started on a bearish tone here. And we saw the reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. And if we look closely, I was able to connect the series of higher lows here to give us that bullish trend line, which I will be calling a temporary bullish trend line at this point in time, as it's yet to emphasize the strength of the buyers at this point. So as soon as price respected this reversal pattern breaking out of the neckline area, we saw a situation where price came back to do a sharp rejection of the neckline area, which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line that was identified earlier. So we saw buying pressure around this area, respecting that bullish trend line, also respecting the neckline area, which was broken during the first day of last week trading session. So we saw a sharp rejection with buy pressure, pushing price to the upside. So going into the new week, if we continue to see buy pressure right above the 136.450 level, we want to be buying the USDJPY. So in order to make that decision to buy the USDJPY, I want us to scale down to a lower time frame. where we want to see how participants in this market has been relating to the 136.450 level since the beginning of this week. So I will be scaling down to the 1 hour time frame here. And on the 1 hour time frame, what do we have here? So since the beginning of the week started on the bullish note. So we saw price started the week at around the 136.450 level, which is the support level for this week. So we have a new support level for this week at the 136.450, which is also a level that we identified on the higher time frame that will be serving as our yardstick for trading activities for this week. Remember, we said we are going to be looking for selling opportunities if price breaks down this level, that is the support level, which also shares a confluence with this bullish trend line to the downside. So we saw price climb up, and then we had price retest the 137.150. So this is the resistance point for this week. So we have been witnessing selling pressure as soon as price got into the 137.150. So for this week, we have a resistance level at the 137.150, and we have a support level at the 136.450 area. So we have a channel already, and when we have structures like this, we want to remain patient, look out for signals in the form of either a breakout or a breakdown of this channel. So for those who are taking advantage of the buy opportunity right above the 136.450 level, well, I would advise you to move your stop loss right away to break even at your entry zone. Move your stop loss to your entry zone right now, and let's see how price action will relate to that structure. So to buy the USDJPY now, I want to see price break out of the resistance level of this channel. That is a breakout of the 137.150 level, taking out all the sell position here, getting some liquidity to push price to the upside. So if we start seeing buy pressure right above that structure, then we want to be joining the rally to the upside. And if we join the rally to the upside, I have identified a TP target around the 139.500 level, a level which shares a confluence with the selling niche. This level has been holding selling niche in the past. I think since the later part of the month of November, that area has been holding selling niche. So let's see how price action is going to relate to that structure. And if we take this impulsive move that started this month into consideration here, extending it into the future using our Fibonacci extension tool, that is extending it to the future here, and aiming at an area between the 127.2 and the 1414 area, which had that area figure out. So you can see how it has a confluence with the structure we identified earlier. So we shall be looking at how price is going to relate to that structure. So if we are going to be buying from that level, so we should be having a minimum of 180 pips to a maximum of 250 pips to catch here. So like I said, we are going to be seeing how price is going to relate to the structure. Are we going to be having selling pressure right below that level to incite another wave of bearish momentum? Or are we going to be having a breakout of that structure followed by buying pressure to join the rally to the upside? So these are one of the few things we are going to be looking at if price moves in that direction. So let's see what happens here. So to make our job easier this week, remember I have identified the 136.450 level, which we shall be using to guide our trading activity. So a breakdown selling pressure below that level should be giving us an opportunity to sell the USDJPY, and a breakout of the 137.150 level should be giving us an opportunity to buy the USDJPY. So if you have any questions regarding what I've just discussed so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section.